Welcome to Soul Trek. This episode, All Hallows Eve. You know, the English language is blessed with all different kinds of words. I mean, there's nouns and verbs and adverbs, contractions, homophones, homonyms. I always get those ones mixed up. One of them, they sound the same, but they're not spelt the same. The other one, they're spelt the same, and they may or may not be pronounced the same. I don't know. Those are interesting words without a doubt. However, my favorite kind of word is called a portmanteau. Portmanteau is actually a device, case, for carrying a variety of different things. It's like a suitcase. And it's applied to English words that have combined more than one word, but still continue to have the meaning of both words. So brunch is a portmanteau, I guess. Breakfast and lunch combined together and form this one thing. Lewis Carroll, in his poem Jabberwocky, employed lots of portmanteaus. 'Twas brillig and the slithy tove did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borough groves, and the malm raths outgabe. 10 portmanteaus in 4 lines of poetry. That's pretty amazing. I don't remember what all of the words mean. Humpty Dumpty explains them to Alice. Mimsy is the only one I really remember. It's miserable and flimsy at the same time, if that's at all possible. But there you go. I guess it is for a Jabberwocky. But the kind of word that I want to talk about today is a contraction, because the word Halloween is a contraction. It's a combination actually of a phrase which originally would have been All Hallows Eve. When I was a kid, you would have seen Halloween written with an apostrophe between the 2 E's. You don't see that so much anymore. It seems as though the apostrophe has disappeared. But there you go. What can you do about apostrophes that disappear? This year, Halloween happens to fall on a Sunday, and it's called Halloween or All Hallows Eve because it's the evening before All Saints' Day. So All Saints' Day is a day when we remember all of the saints. I mean, there's sort of the biggies, the ones that we remember, and they have their own days throughout the year. And that's probably the way it was in the early church. Each saint got his or her own day. But as soon as you get over 365, then you got to start doubling up, and it's easy to start forgetting. And we don't know the names of all the saints, because they've been forgotten, or perhaps we didn't know them if it was a group of people that might have been martyred on the same day or something like that. So there's way too many saints to try and remember. A particular saint might have had a particular association with a certain community, and so that saint was remembered along with all the other biggies. But we didn't want to forget those saints, those people whose lives had touched the world in such a way that we commemorate them. In this way, we elevate them to being one of the capital S saints of the world. And so we remember them, and the ones that we've forgotten, we have set aside this day to remember them as well. All Saints' Day is followed immediately by All Souls' Day. All Souls' Day is an opportunity for us to remember people that we've actually known, people whose lives have touched us in such a way that they've helped us, perhaps helped us some way in our spiritual journey, our soul trek. And so we take time out immediately after All Saints' Day to remember all of those people who have touched our lives in one way or another. I think it's really important for us to grieve and take time in our lives to grieve, certainly in the days immediately after someone has died, let's say. But it's also important, at certain times of the year to, a Christmas or their birthday or some other anniversary, to remember that person, to take some time in reflection of them. And so All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day allow us to do that. And I think it's important to our spiritual journey, to our soul trek, that we do that we find ways to grieve appropriately. I think the problem has been through COVID is that we have had to find other ways to grieve. We haven't been able to get together in large groups. We haven't been able to travel to other places in order to be with family and friends when we're grieving. And so that's been really challenging. So what we're going to do this year at St. Paul's Church is on Halloween, the day before All Saints' Day, 2 days before All Souls' Day, we're going to take some time in our morning services to do an act of memory, an act of memorial. We're going to have that element to our service. It's going to be a little bit like a funeral service, but it'll also have the Holy Eucharist and readings and a sermon and those sorts of things that we'd normally expect at a Sunday morning service. But there'll also be that chance for us to remember the people that perhaps we haven't been able to grieve as fully as we wanted to or as we normally would have during COVID-19. So it's easy enough for me to find the names of parishioners of St. Paul's Church that have died in the past 18, 19 months. And so I'm going to collect those names, and all of those names will be read. All of those people will be remembered at that service on Halloween on the 31st of October. But I also want us to add the names of the people family and friends who may not have been members of St. Paul's Church and won't be on that list. Family members or friends that lived off island or in another parish that we weren't able to grieve in the same way as we could before. So I want those names as well. So I'm inviting you to email me those names, first and last names. Send them to either myself or to Amanda at the parish office. And we'll remember all of those people. And for as long as it takes. I mean, if we get hundreds of names, we'll read hundreds of names in the service that particular morning. It's an opportunity for us to, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of this crisis that the world finds itself in, we will remember those individuals that have touched us, those people who grieve, or those people for whom we grieve, and so that we're able to find appropriate ways to do that even in this pandemic. So I invite you to participate, to send Amanda or me those names, and we will include them in our memorial service on Halloween, on the eve of All Saints' Day, 2 days before All Souls' Day. Thank you, and God bless.